Alison from Bag Ladybird Learn to Sew. Welcome. Today I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about some of the favourite things that I use in my sewing room that are not actually sewing tools. So the first one I'm going to talk to you about are my little plant pots here. They are just IKEA plant pots and I use these regularly as thread bins, scrap bins. They're a bin on the table. Helps keep the workspace tidy. I use them in workshops and in group sewing sessions, so I've got a few of them and they'll have one on each table, and it just helps you keep your workspace tidy, make your space much more easy to use, and it just stops you putting bits of thread all over the floor or chucking them everywhere, bits of scraps, clogging up your hoover or whatever. So yes, keeps your workspace tidy. Just an IKEA plant pot, but you don't need to get a plant pot. It could be any little tub you can use. I just bought these because there's it was easy to buy a lot of them. Okay, my next thing I'm going to talk about is good old-fashioned masking tape. So this is decorator's masking tape from the DIY store, and I use this for pattern alterations, for marking the wrong side of fabrics when I've got a fabric that it's difficult to tell the right and wrong side of it. I'll put some masking tape on it. Because masking tape is low tack, it doesn't create a mark, it doesn't leave a mark behind, it doesn't leave a sticky residue like you might get with other tapes. So I just would rip a small square off and stick that on the wrong side of the fabric, so I know when I'm sewing my garment together that I've got the right sides together when I'm sewing it together. You can also use this for marking your seam allowance on your sewing machine. So if you're not sure which line you need to be following, you can just stick some of the masking tape to the base of the machine so you know where your line you need to follow is. I also use it during pattern alterations to stick the pattern paper together. I use it when I'm pattern drafting as well. If I have any alterations to do or anything there, I will stick the pattern paper together with masking tape. So if you're lengthening or shortening a pattern again, masking tape is absolutely fab. I sometimes use Pritt Stick as well, so just a paper glue, but masking tape is ideal. Other things I would use masking tape for in my sewing room is if I am using a safety pin to thread through elastic on a casing, I will wrap the safety pin in masking tape so that it doesn't come undone when you part way through your casing, which can be super annoying if that happens. So yeah, there are loads of different uses for masking tape in your sewing room. Relatively inexpensive to buy, but it's handy to have. Now this one is commonly used by a lot of sewers. It's a friction pen. They are made by Pilot and you can buy them in stationery shops, big supermarkets, WH Smith, anywhere like that. You can get lots of different colours. I've got a black, a red, a green and a blue, and they are absolutely fabulous for marking your fabric. So they disappear when you iron. So this is a rollerball version. I think you can also get a fine liner or something, but you can mark your fabric with this and then when you iron it disappears. So it's great for doing really accurate markings on your fabric and not worrying about it. However, having said that, there are some things to watch out for with these friction pens. One, on some fabrics they can leave a bit of a ghostly mark behind, so you can still see where the pen was. Another thing to look out for is that they can come back if they're in really cold weather. The ink can reappear, so use with caution. Check it out on your fabric first before you commit to using it on your actual garment, and just always be a bit cautious about where you're using it. Don't use it on the right side of the fabric and try and keep it to areas where it's not going to be seen or be obvious if it was to return. But these are great little pens. I do use them a lot. Okay, and this is my final non-sewing thing that I use in my sewing room. It is a sharp spin. So all my bent and broken pins and needles go straight in here. This, obviously, I teach a lot of workshops, teach a lot of other people to sew, and we're always getting bent and broken pins and needles, so they go in here. But I've had this for years and years and years, probably close on about 10 years, and it's only full up to here, and that's saying how much I use it. But it's ideal for within your sewing room. You can pick these up from a chemist or a pharmacy, and they will also dispose of them as well. If you take them when they're full up, they will take them away. But it's just fab, so you're not putting bent or broken pins or needles into your bin, into your normal rubbish. You can keep them separate, and nobody's going to do themselves any damage by putting their hand into something and getting a pin stuck in them. So those are my 4 top tips for non-sewing related or non-sewing items that are absolutely fabulous in your sewing room. Remember to like and subscribe to my channel for more great Learn to Sew videos that will help make you a better dressmaker.